This is Vodka with the Stoned Age Podcast. Welcome to the show. Give a shout out to our sponsors, my store, Little Shop of Hydros. Come through if you're looking for anything cannabis related, growing, vegetables, you name it, house plants. Come check us out. Dyna Pure CBD as well if you need any kind of CBD wellness. We're on 7th Street in Mountain View in North Phoenix, Sunny Slope area. Come check us out. Sticky Saguaro out in Chandler, Riggs and McQueen. Definitely need to go check them out. You know, family owned, family operated. If you care about that, definitely support them. So today we're going to be talking to a boy of mine, Jacob, with the Inventing Room. If you haven't heard of them, you need to quickly check them out. They're in the cannabis scene, and they've been around for, how long have you been around for, Jacob?
A little over 3 years now.
Shit, 3 years. So, Jacob, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it has, man. Yeah, much needed conversation needing to be done, so.
Dude, I mean, a lot's happened, I'm sure, in 3 years. You know, obviously, since COVID, that's about 3 years, right?
We were birthed out of the pandemic, yep.
And I could say the same thing, you know, Little Shop of Hydros and Dyna Pure, we were in construction right at the very end of COVID, and then we opened right at the tail end. So
Right.
It's been a fucking struggle, I'll say the least about that, you know what I mean? And we're still trying to build, you know, most people when in COVID, they went online.
Right.
And it's hard to compete with Amazon. You
right.
know what I'm saying?
Right. No, absolutely. I always make that joke that no one really started a business in COVID, or it wasn't necessarily the thing most people were doing.
You know, most people are surprised, you know, when they hear that. You're like, oh, you started right. I'm like, yeah, you know, maybe it's the worst time. We thought it was going to be a little bit better. But I'm starting to see a turnaround where people are starting to come back into the store and, you know, they're tired of just shopping online. They want to actually see face-to-face again, and they want to really get the help. If you order something online, there's no help behind it. You might get a deal.
Right.
That's what I tell people. I can't match that price, but if you're looking to like really learn how to do this and like what you need to do, then this is the place to be at.
Right.
You know, we're here to help people and walk them through every step, no matter what they buy. So it's all about just making people successful and growing. You know what I mean? What we're doing here at Little Shop of Hydros. You know, I'm glad you finally came to see the shop, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, I appreciate you having
You come from this neighborhood, Sunny Slope, you know what I mean? Give a shout
Yep,
out. I'm a
all
sloper,
day.
you're a sloper.
Yep.
We got our homie over here, Serge, sloper. Dawn, too, she's a sloper. Holy shit, man, this is crazy.
That's what it's all
I haven't been
about.
around this many slopers, and I don't even know how long.
Right.
So that's cool, man. I'm glad to have you back in the neighborhood. You know, you see my store. What do you think?
Yeah, dude, I love it, man. It's obviously reminiscent vibes of when I used to work in the store with you, you know, back when I used to work at the other locations. So, yeah, I definitely love seeing it, love seeing what you're doing always, and, you know, I'm always trying to grab some growing equipment.
Well, I appreciate that, man. You know, it's been a long road. You know, it's ups and downs in life, and you time flies by. You know what I'm saying? Now I hear you have 3 kids, and I'm like, damn, you know, my daughter's going to be an adult here pretty soon. Friends are already adults, you know what I mean? It's like, holy shit, man, where did time go? But it's nice to see that everybody's still healthy and still doing their thing. And, you know, I'm glad to have you part of, you know, my show and to come see the store and see what I'm into. You know, it's been a long road for me. You know, I have to hustle hard on the back end doing farmers markets to get our name out there. And we just did the home show this last weekend. We were there for 3 days from 10 to 5, and it kicked my ass. I had to do a drive on Thursday night to California, Anaheim, 8 hours because I got a fucking blowout in the dark.
Oh, man.
That shit was crazy with Dixels fucking flying by. It was no fun. And then just do the tournament the next day and drive right back. And then the next morning back at the home show for 2 more days. It was like, holy shit, man. So it kicked my ass. But we got a shitload of, you know, emails and
awesome.
Passed out a lot of cards. So, I mean, that's what it's all about is just getting your name out there. And that's what we're trying to do. But you have to hustle, just like you. You know what I'm saying? For the Inventing Room to be in business for the last 3 years, I'm sure you've had your ups and downs. I know you've been with under different licensing and things like that. But you seem like you're at a good spot now.
100%. Yeah, I would say that's probably been one of our biggest hurdles is dealing with licensing. Initially, it just things happen to where other companies come in. Just how business goes. One particular time we got with a license, and then that license sold. Couldn't make an agreement with the new company. So this industry is ever changing, ever moving. We're very proud and happy to be with the license holders that we are now. They're family owned and operated business also.
And you're a family owned, family operated too. So
absolutely,
that means a lot.
That's huge for us.
I mean, here in Arizona, if people don't know, it's mostly corporate. You know what I mean? It's corporate entities. You know what I'm saying? And for you to be under a license that is family owned, family operated. That's a big deal.
It's huge, yeah. The corporate licenses can definitely be a huge limit. They can definitely hinder you, and that doesn't even just be corporate. Any license can have the availability to do that. Luckily, we're given a lot of free reign and the availability.
That's what it's about, because there is a lot of restriction if you're under a corporate entity, right?
For sure, 100%.
And that's why, we love the support with Sticky Saguaro, out in Chandler, family-owned, family-operated, like I said. And they're Latino as well, so that's kind of even more rare.
Yeah, we got mad love for Sticky. We actually just dropped our products there yesterday.
Sweet, man. I was just asking him recently, if you guys were there, and he said no, not yet. But I'm glad to hear that, he's all about it, because I told him you're going to be on the show. So.
Oh, heck yeah. Exciting. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. They just got their first order. We just released the hash holes over there yesterday. They'll be getting
talking about
Rosin
the hash
soon.
holes, man. These things are crazy. Why don't you go ahead and tell me about that?
Yeah, man. So the hash holes is it's the biggest excitement for us right now. It's our biggest focus. The hash hole is us revolutionizing the pre-roll department, the game right now.
We're open this way.
Please, yeah, we're patients ourselves. We're consumers ourselves. We're very privy in the understanding that pre-rolls are garbage. We know they're not good. They're machine packed. They use sometimes leaf, flour.
That's a little torpedo right there.
Yeah, man. It's compact. Don't let the length fool you. Typically, you're used to a little bit more of a longer, thinner joint, but that's a gram
nice
of flour.
And packed in there. I can
extremely.
See. So this is
slower.
Top tier flour.
Always, yeah, 100%. Just like everything we do.
Make sure here.
It's the biggest importance because you can't see it. So we like to utilize and vocalize who our sources are.
Does it say the flour that's in with?
Yeah, of course, yeah. It says the flour there. We vocalize who we utilize that flour from. This particular batch we got from Alien Labs. So we got some of their Urkel Dosi Lotto and some baklava.
I see it right there. Yeah.
And then we are...
I like that you put that on there, at least, because... A lot of people want to know what they're blazing on. And then the rosin, you said, is in the middle, right?
Yeah, so it is a 1/4 gram of rosin directly down the middle, rolled right into it. And the most important thing about the rosin in there is that a lot of infused pre-rolls are quite literally the concentrate is put into the bulk flour, mixed up by hand, and then put directly into the product. Whereas, to me, obviously, that just screams a lot of inconsistencies. So for us, I'm very proud that when we roll a joint, every single patty of that joint gets a 1/4 gram of rosin directly put onto it. So there's the exact same amount in every single roll, the 1/4 gram of rosin added to the
consistent, right?
That's the biggest focus. that's everything. And that rosin added to the flour, it changes the entire joint experience. I virtually can't smoke one by myself. I can, but I every time I smoke it with someone, I'm perfectly...
So you put yourself in a hash hole, you're saying.
That's literally it. Yeah, no, but they do the job.
It sounds great. I see right here on the screen. I'm not even looking at the screen. You know what I mean? But yeah, that 1 gram of flour, 0.25. Okay. I think that's definitely put you in a hash hole for sure.
Well, don't get me wrong. A lot of the hash holes are actually a lot bigger. A lot of the kind of industry standards and what have you, they're a lot bigger. We didn't really want to release a baseball bat for 2 reasons. Not saying we never will, but the initial 2 reasons why we didn't want to do that is, A, we want to introduce people to solventless products. We want to bring the masses.
So is that coming later then?
Of course. Right. Definitely. Something that I'm sure we'll offer. We'll, of course, try to make it size appropriate. It won't necessarily be event size, but it's something where we wanted to focus on bringing people in. We wanted to bring the masses into the solventless era, into the movement, allow them to raise the experience and quality of their joint. And that's really what this hash hole is. It's our answer to a bulk, high-quality product, which sometimes with the small batch mind state we always have, sometimes those 2 words don't go hand in hand.
Yeah. No, and I like the packaging too. You know what I mean? It's not just a regular old little tube.
We give a lot of shout out to Chubby Gorilla. That's the company that we use for that. It's a thick, hard plastic. It is, as you could tell, it has quite a thickness to it. It's a tamper-evident
I thought
lid.
It was glass, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, it's very hard to tell the difference. We were going to go with glass, but we didn't want to create that liability for people. They will not break when you drop them, but it's sometimes hard to know the difference. The lids also are child-resistant, and they have a tamper-evident ring. So you can tell that no one's touched it, the joint has been put in, it's been closed, and it's waiting for you to experience it.
No, I love the packaging. I love the name too, and can you real quick explain where did the name come from?
Yeah, man. So in my kind of traditional market, black market days, I kind of created a little bit of a moniker, if you will, or an alias called Green Wilder. And that was, of course, an homage to Gene Wilder, because Willy Wonka's always been a favorite movie of mine. And if you know me well enough, you know that I have quite a large Willy Wonka portrait tattoo on my arm.
That's cool.
And that's kind of where the name came from also. So I was watching Willy Wonka as this was all taking place, and really just focusing on it for whatever reason, and the scene caught my attention more than it usually did, probably because I was kind of thinking of names at the time. And Willie just looked in the camera really boldly, and he was like, "Welcome to the inventing room. This is the most important room in my entire factory. This is where everything goes down. If you remember, that's where he stores the everlasting gobstoppers." So for us, we didn't want to be too gimmicky and attach ourselves too much to the movie. We wanted to make our own story, but still we wanted to pay homage to the fact that the inventing room is our most important room. And that story goes a little bit deeper, because every company I've worked for in this industry, our lab has always been the place to be in that building. That room, if you will, has always had a different vibe. There's been something special about it. And it's obviously always been opposite than the front office with kind of all the decision makers up there. So now the room is our company.
Well, you started out, even with the name, a fun, kind of, I can see it being a fun atmosphere, fun. It's got everything. Why wouldn't you want to have fun working for this or using these products? The inventing room, I like the logo. It looks fun, catchy, and it would make me want to try it if I was just a newbie coming to this brand. I'm like, oh shit, I like what you put into it.
Definitely,
you can tell you put yourself into it. Like you said, that's your favorite thing, and I think that's important, that somebody really is passionate about what they're doing, and I think that shows through with you explaining that. I mean, anybody that's listening right now or watching, they might want to go try this now. You know what I mean? Just because you're so passionate about what you're doing here. And I think it shows through by how, elegantly you talk about what you're doing here and the products and your evolution of where you started. Because I've known you for a long time, too, and I've seen, where you started.
Right.
We were there together in a larger scale cultivation to where we got to see each other do things. And I know that helped you to get where you're at now.
Entirely.
You know what I mean? And that's where, and I try to tell people when they're watching, and life takes you in different directions. Never know what's going to happen, right? So it's all about learning from that experience,
right,
and progressing from there. And I think that's where it's about, like, to where you're at now, because that wasn't the best for both of us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's where we had to, life teaches you lessons you have to learn, or otherwise you're going to keep suffering. You know what 100%. I mean? Sometimes it's just like that until you listen, and then you find out, okay, I need to go my own direction. You did. You took a huge leap to go to the market with your own brand against all these corporate people.
For sure.
Companies coming in and that have a huge marketing budget and this and that.
Right.
That's a big deal, and I commend you for taking that leap and really just making it happen, bro. That's fucking awesome. And it's good to see, like, somebody that grew up in the same neighborhood, like I said, is really representing.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really our sole focus, is to make sure that this industry doesn't ever lose sight of where it came from or where it started.
And that's what is lacking right there. More, transparency with, the people that grew up here that really put 100%. In the work to get here. And I think that's where we need to realize that, why we should support brands like yours, the Inventing Room, to really, highlight those kind of things. This person grew up right here, is raised in the heart of Phoenix, and now is representing, above and beyond. You were telling me earlier that you're, there's a whole secret society, we're going to say, of hash connoisseurs.
Oh, 100%.
And there's like secret, private kind of gatherings that you have to be invited to, right?
A lot of invite-only gatherings. I would say the two most prestigious competitions annually in the United States are invite-only basis.
And these are like the biggest names in the cannabis industry, right?
100%. Specifically with the solvent list, the biggest and the best hash makers in the entire world are at these events.
Well, not even in the U.S., the world.
Oh, no. It's very much an international event. Obviously, these events both do have international
So
events.
Speaking of that, did you ever get to meet, or were you friends with Frenchie before he passed away?
So yeah, Frenchie was definitely I'm certainly not gonna lie, like, we were great friends by any means, but I considered him a friend. He was definitely a mentor to me,
because he was like the most world-renowned hashish.
Absolutely, yeah, he taught me quite a lot. He was always available for me. I'm forever grateful to how kind he was to me. He was always a call away. I definitely spent many hours talking with him on the phone and just enjoying
you got lucky, man. I mean,
100%.
that's
It's a blessing.
Not everybody can say that, right?
No.
I mean, I watch from the outside, a lot of other people too, but the people that really knew him and what he did for the cannabis industry around the world is pretty impressive.
Oh, it's very impressive.
It made an impact to where he'll be known forever, right? And I think that's what we're all trying to do, right? Is try to make a name to where people remember you and talk good about you. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's people that will be remembered for wrong things.
Right.
We don't want to be doing that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But for him to create that legacy for Hash and for you to be following in that footsteps of somebody that you actually got to learn from that made that big impact around the world, I mean, that only makes your craft even better,
100%.
better and better, because you have that old school knowledge. And I think that's what a lot of brands are lacking, is that old school thing, that old school feel.
For sure.
That and I think that's where the love and the passion comes from. And
Absolutely.
it shows through in the product, right?
Yeah, that's entirely where it stems from. I mean,
what you're showing me right here, you said was knocking shit down.
Oh, no,
it's all stuck. I'll let you grab it. But you said this was how old?
So that is excuse me. So that hash is about 8 months old.
So some nice pressed, hash right here.
Yeah, it's still greasy, oily.
I thought it was a lot fresher, to tell you the truth. And
Yeah.
you said 6 months. I'm like, holy shit, man! Like, I mean, shit, lying around.
Yeah,
but
it's
this
very
thing
oily.
right here is like reminds me of old school. I haven't seen a good hash in a long time. I remember getting nice bars of hash when we were young, back in the 90s and early 2000s, and it was just like amazing, that we could get that, and really experience what hash was, and that's where knife hits came into effect. And blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Now you got this crazy contraption. I don't even know what you called it, but what is that?
The 3-hole hash pipe.
So that's for like connoisseur hash smokers, right?
Yeah, typically, I mean, at least to know about it and get it. It can be for anyone, but...
Can you pass that over here?
Yeah.
I want to see that thing again, because I want you to explain I want people to see it, because this little unit, I mean, are they pretty expensive? It looks like it could be pricey.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely more expensive than the traditional pipe. Not as expensive as some heady pieces. Andy Roth does a great job. Definitely pretty affordable.
So, I mean, I liked how it hit. Like, I got the true flavor of the hash. Like, it tasted like I took a bite of it.
Right, quite literally, yeah. I think, and I do credit him for, even though I am a fan of water filtration, it's what I appreciate the most while I consume my products. But obviously, that being a dry pipe, I think helps with the flavor a little bit more. And it mimics what to me looks like kind of an Afghan chillum design a little bit. And yeah, the hit is just so direct. It's so perfect. And it's everything you could want in a hash pipe.
I liked it. It was, definitely, a cool little experience. Like you said, the holes aren't at the bottom; they're at the top. So you're just basically we're heating up a heating tool, basically,
right?
A little element, and you're not using a flame. You're just heating up this. What was a metal like dab or whatever?
Pretty much, yeah, like a little like herb iron.
There we go. And then you heated it up and just press the heat on there, and it's not using any flame. So I mean, it's even cleaner.
So a cool fact about that, actually, that I think you'll appreciate is that Frenchie's actually the one who told me to get that.
Really?
And yeah, so Frenchie popularized the 3-hole hash pipe. Andy Roth made him one. I think if I remember,
That's
it was
cool,
like
man.
it was like a Dichro gray red one. And yeah, I reached out to him and was like, dude, that pipe is the shit. Let me know all about it. He told me all about it.
See,
told
that's
me
some
how
cool
to get in
stories
touch
right
with
there. I
Andy.
mean, not everybody,
Yeah.
like I said, can say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Frenchie Cannoli told you to buy this fucking pipe. And
Yeah,
here we are,
Yeah.
smoking this pipe that I've never smoked myself. I've actually seen you promoting this on your Instagram, and I've always wondered like how it would hit, with the different kinds of hash, because you're obviously a rosin company, all about hash, to where I've always been a flower guy.
Right.
But I appreciate these products right here rather than the concentrates that you would typically get at the dispensary.
For sure.
All the different shit that's out there that's made with solvents and, that's, they try to clean it and remediate it and whatever it is, but there's still something there, right? Where this is a natural process to where you're only using heat and water.
Right,
Ice.
just ice and water. For that, no heat. So for the hash, obviously, we don't use any heat to enjoy it. that's actually heated itself. So hash is so oily, and it looks like it's done with the Frenchy cannoli tech, to where he takes the bottle and kind of heats it up right there in the foil. But that's actually just by my hands. Wow. There's no heat or anything on that. It just the trichome's just melted right in my hand over time.
Well, you just got to work with it, right? Know what the process of it, and not rush the process.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It all starts in the grow. I always say good hash isn't made; it's grown. If the trichome heads aren't where they need to be, there's very little I can do to create a product similar to that.
And speaking of that, you use some of the top producing cannabis companies here that are producing top tier cannabis
100%
on our market. These are companies that are widely known across in California, across the nation, obviously, because they got multiple brands in different states,
for
right?
sure, yeah.
So they've made a name in California, most of them, like Alien and Connected.
Alien Labs, Connected.
And, they produce amazing flower. They got amazing strains, and obviously it shows through on their products. And I think that's a good plus for you to be able to run these products and really, maximize what you're doing here. I mean, to have that, I don't know how many flavors you said, were like 40 different flavors in a whip, you know what I mean? And
yeah, so
it was like super terpy. And then just the one strains, I forget what strain you said this hash was.
The Motor Breath.
Motor Breath. I mean, it literally smells like motor breath, and It tasted just like it, and packed a huge punch. It made my mouth water afterwards.
For sure.
And it got me super fucking high, what I mean?
So that's actually from a company. So with the Alien Labs, we've used their dry flower for the hash holes, whereas the fresh frozen, we utilize more of some smaller local brands, really to hone in on that small batch, really, really high.
But you get to hand pick it. That's the best part.
Oh,
right?
100%. That's the most important
thing. So I think that's the biggest thing, to where, you can't get any better than the owner of a product hand-picking the product himself, to where it's not passed off to anybody else and you're using their judgment. It's coming right from your judgment, to where you're hand-picking and, saying, no, I don't like that one. I want this one. I like these terps. There's certain terps that people look for, in different products, and you obviously want to express that.
100%. Well, I think there's something also to the point of it's not just a matter of going to look at the products, but it's going to meet the people. Like you said, the passion is everything. So we want to go to the grow. We want to meet. Obviously, we know people involved, whereas the conversation started, but we like to meet the team. We like to know a little bit about what they're doing, kind of hear their story, and we really like to attach ourselves to people that we feel like are doing.
You want to support the right people.
That's right, exactly. Because those are typically the people growing fire.
You need to make good business relationships to really be successful in any kind of industry, and I think that's what it's all about. Connecting with the right people, so that way there's consistency. If you're trying to create a certain product, you need to have consistency. You can't have some fire over here in one batch, and then all of a sudden the next batch is all right. You know what I mean? Well, so where it depends on those relationships, on them wanting to supply the best for you as well, and always saving something for you. All right, you want this certain strain, then we're going to make sure that you have it.
Right, absolutely. Those relationships are absolutely key. And I think another important thing, too, about being able to select it is how and what we select. So there's some companies where, and I've worked for several of them, where I always kind of say this jokingly, but unfortunately it's really not a joke, but if you extract for a grow, a lot of those situations are the best. I mean, there's just no one who could tell me different. The best buds produced in that building are going to go in jars. They're going to go in bags. They're going to go to bag appeal. And I've been in situations, just speaking for myself, to where as an extractor, I've gotten the rest of the plant, the rest of what's left, or the smalls or the large or what have you. So for us, we get to get whole plant fresh frozen. We get fresh frozen crops entirely from the top to bottom. Nothing's pre-selected, different.
That's a big deal.
It's a huge difference on the end result.
And that, like you said, on the end result, it shows through, and that's where if you didn't have those relationships, you're just going to get the scraps and whatever's left, right?
For sure.
So being in the industry really matters. And how long have you been in the industry just doing, without your own company? It's been a long time, right?
Yeah, close to about 8 or 9 years.
That's pretty much, we're about 13 years in, 14 now. So, it's halfway through. You know what I mean? And that's a big deal to be able to say you've been in the industry for that long and, did whatever it was to be able to make your thing happen.
For sure.
You know what I mean? But you had to start somewhere. And I think, picking the right spots, anybody out there listening, if you're trying to get in the cannabis industry, you know, you have to start small. You know, get into somewhere. If you're trying to be a certain kind of person, you know, want to be an extractor, this, that, and the other, you're going to have to like really do the dirty work for a little while.
Yeah, you're going to have to be a trimmer first. You know, that's kind of what I always say. I see a lot of people, and it's almost like when you see the newer generation immediately start smoking chronic first, whereas like we had to go through our Reggie days and all this. It's kind of similar to where you see a hash maker propelled into this career when he starts making hash for a big company. Whereas I think it's really important to have someone who's a little bit more experienced and grounded in the sense to where I'd say it all with pride. Like being an owner of the industry doesn't mean anything if you weren't a trimmer in that same industry. Yeah. You know, so like you said, we started at the bottom, I've been at the trim table, I've been in every position in between, and then all the way up. And I'm very happy to be on this side too, because it just gives me more challenges and gives me all the opportunities to work with things and with people that I never got the chance to do working for other people. That's
great, man. I'm glad to hear that. You know, and tell me about these. What's in here?
So this is our box. We're debuting it soon. We currently use a environmentally friendly packaging.
Okay.
So right now this is what we're going to our box. We're still trying to be conscious of that, whereas this is actually a multi-use box. So you have a live hash rosin side on here that shows our micron range. Then you have a full melt hashish side on here, which just shows the individual micron we use, and we'll hand check each one of those boxes to let the consumer know which one they're buying, because we do offer full melt hash. It's just very far and few in between because we let the plant do the talking, and if it doesn't melt absolutely perfect, we just won't release it. So
that's cool, man. Well, that's why I wanted you to explain. Like I said, this is a cool looking box. It's not just something I see people wanting to hold on to this.
Right, yeah. We really focus on the quality of that. It's not just a little origami box. It's magnetic.
No, even with the brand, you know, like you said, I mean, you played off of a certain thing that was a love of, you know, you loved this movie when you were young. People love that movie as well. So that's something that I could see a collector or you know, a fan of that movie being like, you know, obviously they don't want to collect too many, but they're going to keep some around.
For sure.
Just to kind of have as a little
keepsake.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? So I like what you've done with that. You know, the box is cool. I mean, obviously you want to be environmentally friendly. So I appreciate that because there is a lot of waste in this industry.
100%. Right? Yeah. We hate to add to it. We wish we truly didn't have to do the box. But it's necessary, most specifically to keep the product level and how it should be. We're using bags earlier, and they'll hang. Obviously, the rosin doesn't move too much compared to a more drippier, wetter consistency, but still, we want to be conscious of the end result and the experience through it all. So we're definitely elevating and continue to make the packaging and presentation a little more eye-catching, a little bit more caught up to the standard, and then trying to set our own standard.
I love it, man. I mean, think... you know, how many products do you have in your lineup right now?
So we currently have 3 products. Okay. We have.
And what are you shooting for? Like how many?
So I don't.
There's one other one. Is the third one or one of the 3? Is that walk you were talking about, or is that out yet?
No, yeah, that's definitely out. So that's the Wook Chow. So we technically right now have 4 products, but again, one of them is the full melt hash, and we just do not release that a lot. So it almost
so explain the Wook Chow. I want to
So the Wook Chow
people out there are like, what the hell is Wook Chow?
Right, the Wook Chows are edible, made by my wife. She's the chef. It's the best edible I've ever had. I know it sounds like the most biased statement ever, but truly, I'm not even an edible guy. That's what's funny about it all, is that I am now.
Well, now you make me want to try these things. I'm like, Wook Chow. Right.
Well, I'll tell you the most important thing about our edibles. And, of course, you got to compare and contrast to highlight some of these details. But almost every edible in the state right now, the market all around, but we're just focused on Arizona, obviously. But almost every edible made in Arizona is made with distillate.
Oh, yeah.
That is to easily dose. That is to get to closest to 100% with the purity consistency. That is just for a million.
And for people out there that don't realize what distillate is, I mean, that could be the crappiest flower out there, right? And it's just been cleaned and remediated and put into distillate.
So distillate is a cannabinoid isolate. If you do it correctly, it is solely THC. But like you said, that can come from anything that has THC on it.
It could be even ashtray clip, you know,
I have
stuff.
made distillate out of an ashtray.
See, so that could show you, like, distillate could not, could not be the best thing for you to...
Well, it really just comes down to there's nothing to it. It's just THC. And the most important thing of what I'm getting at is that there is nothing to it. The entourage effect, they've learned over time, wasn't necessarily based off cannabinoids like once thought, but now it's actually based off terpenes. And if you don't have those, your edible is missing one of the most biological phenomenons weed provides.
And that's where all these crazy flavors in your vapes and this and that, those aren't natural cannabis terpenes. Those are artificial terpenes.
Yeah, I call them Walmart terpenes.
And those aren't doing anything for you.
Food store.
And those are what gives you headaches and things like that. I mean, that's why, I'm not a fan of distillate myself at all. Like, I don't want it. Like, I'm like, I'm good.
Right. Oh, no, yeah, it can literally get you sick. I used to do pesticide remediation out in California like 10 years ago, specifically for problems like that because people were smoking carts and getting sick. It's even worse is that I've even heard stories of those artificial terpenes just sitting over time, converting into chemicals as harmful as formaldehyde.
Wow.
Imagine getting a distillate cartridge, smoking it, and getting wet.
That's fucking crazy.
Like, that is the opposite of what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, I don't want to fucking do that.
Yeah, so yeah, it's unreal. So again, with that being said, though, that's the difference in our edible, is that with edibles made in this state, they do not have the entourage effect. And the entourage effect isn't just that is the responsible for the duration of your high, the paranoia involved in your high, how long your high lasts. I mean, this is almost everything involved with how you can physically study the high. It's all the entourage effect. Edibles, they lack that. Add that into a whole lot of different gas problems that people can have. They can bypass your gas tract. There's 100 problems with edibles. The solution is adding a full spectrum live hash rosin solventless medicine into it because now fully facilitated. So to give you a reference point, with any usual distillate edible, I'm comfortable at about 1,200 milligrams. I could eat that, and I don't need to have fun. That's dramatic, but I can eat that again. I understand, but I can eat that and be comfortable. Whereas live hash rosin edibles, solventless edibles like we make, I'm at about 150 before I'm having equal feelings. So it's almost apples to oranges with the milligram comparisons.
So how much are the milligrams on these on the package?
So the Wook Chow, we have 100 milligrams for rec, and it's 25 milligram pieces. And the Wook Chow is a play off the Puppy Chow to where it's a cereal square dipped in peanut butter, dipped in chocolate, coated in powdered sugar, all of which is infused with live hash rosin.
That sounds great.
So it is delicious. And what's really cool about it, and what's a very important thing to highlight, is how small those, talking about microdosing earlier, how small those dosing pieces are. It's one of the smallest doses you can get on an edible today in Arizona.
That's cool. So you can really gauge it. Yeah.
So you can gauge it. You can take 5 milligrams and go, okay, this is doing nothing. You can take 5 more.
Because some people, like, if you're at, doing a job and this and that, you don't want to feel that drowsiness from an edible.
Right.
You just want to take that pain away. And I think that's where you can gauge it. Like you said, okay, I'm going to try 3. If I'm right here, if I'm good, then I'm going to keep it there.
Right, and that's something to where sometimes you may have to gauge it differently, being a live hash rosin, being a solventless edible. It's going to hit you a little bit different than a usual. Well, I typically take 10 milligrams, say, on a distillate edible. That's what's important about ours, is you can take half of that. That's not usually offered. You can take 5 milligrams and see where you sit there, and then continue to until you find your place.
That's cool, man. Well, I look forward to trying these someday. I'm a little sad that we're talking about them.
I know, man. I'm sorry I didn't bring a batch for you. We actually currently have a batch in the oven.
Why don't you load up one of these hash? I want to try this hash.
Yeah,
again.
man.
That'd be dope. I don't know what all you need, but
no, I got everything here. Just the torch.
All right, we'll get that over here. And we're going to try some of this hash. That's 6-month-old hash right here that looks as fresh as yesterday, we're going to say. So, the inventing room, I'm very proud to call this guy a friend, and see his progression in the industry, because I like to support the small guys. And I think that's important that the community gets to hear right from the source. You know what I mean? This is Jacob. He owns this company. He created this company. And the products that you're smoking, he's smoking. So I think that's another important thing. He's not just trying to take your money. He's actually benefiting from these products as well, and he wants to showcase his skills in creating these products,
right.
And set himself aside by being that family-owned, family-operated, and really, passionate person about cannabis. And I think that's what's, lacking, like I said, in the industry. We need more passion behind it, and for you to be able to go to these different events and do different things to where it really sets you aside from just the regular person, because you're able to, talk about, like Frenchie. You're able to have these stories that are from legendary people in the industry that, people can learn from. And I think that's important to really highlight those kind of things. So I'm glad you're sharing those stories with us. I mean, that's pretty cool. I didn't realize you'd be friends with him. Another guy you said you're friends with that has an amazing cannabis company out in California, Squints.
Yeah, Squints is
tell us, obviously maybe younger people don't know who Squints is, but why don't you tell who that is?
Yeah, so Squints is most commonly recognized from his role in Sandlot. That is his.
That's an old school movie. One of my favorites from a kid. Obviously, I'm a little older. I'm in my 40s, but maybe a lot of younger generations have seen it. I know there's been.
Classic.
Yeah, I think so. Right? I would like to think that.
Forever. I think a big part of that has to do with the baseball itself.
Yeah.
Baseball will live on forever. That movie's obviously always attached
Vinny.
to the love of baseball, everything to do with it. It's funny. I, of course, more recognize Squints for his work in the industry. Big shout out to Foreign Genetics and everything he's done with the Wendy and Liz. I'm a huge fan.
That's what she said. He names his stuff after some of the characters that are, made them popular.
Most specifically female names, which I think is just such a cool take. Obviously, he has different,
And that's a classic freaking scene right there that, one of the, making that name after one of the scenes is one of the classics out there. Like,
of course.
That's one of the most favorite, just his face in that fucking scene.
Right.
Because, you can just laugh just thinking about it. You know what I mean? It's a really cool, iconic movie. And for you to be friends with him, too, and to be able to, say that you smoke some of his flower and different cannabis products. And
100%.
I think that's pretty cool, man.
No, I do, too. Yeah, no, it's like I was going to say with Frenchie, there's so many people that obviously may not be as recognized in masses groups as Frenchie, but there's so many people blazing in his footsteps. I'm just one of the few. There's so many people. I mean, you have people like Mila Hash Queen. Mila is an absolute
Isn't she just on the
pioneer.
cover of something right now?
Yeah, exactly. She is trailblazer, pioneer.
And I'm sure, you know her as well, right?
I'm very proud to call her a friend for sure. She always has an invite for us out to Amsterdam. We're definitely going to take advantage of that and go.
You got to do that, man. I mean,
go check out the pollinator.
If you don't, I'm going to step in your footsteps.
For sure.
I'm Jacob.
For sure. No, yeah. So it's one of my personal favorite things about the Inventing Room is that I've been very limited in my career in the sense that, obviously I wasn't there to market. I wasn't there to network. Always doing it in my own time, but I was there to make products, So now I'm able to travel with the products, able to go and meet people, go in and reach out to the people I've always appreciated, let them know that what I'm doing is hugely inspired because of you. And there's hundreds of people like that. And now hundreds of people that are friends and people that I can call homie and people that I can see at events and trade terps. And that's
why I said people need to, to know who you are behind this brand to be able to really support what you're doing. You're getting, you're talking with the people around the world that are, the hash people.
Right, 100%.
You know what I mean? These are like true connoisseurs that are recognized for their craft. And I think that's important that, we highlight those things to really get this brand more recognition, because I think what you are doing needs to be recognized more, and you could rise to the top, and I think you should.
Thank you.
And I think that's where the community can really come in and support you. And I'm about to do this hash hit here off this crazy contraption that Frenchie Cannoli recommended to him right here. So I think that's pretty freaking badass. Yeah, just by itself. Look up Frenchie Cannoli if you don't know who that is.
Yeah, I always start there. I tell everybody, like, if you need to have
it. Fucking wait, nope.
Sometimes you need to poke a little harder with the flatter one, but we could always reheat it.
I think I need to. I can taste it. Man, that tastes fucking amazing. I'll tell you that much. Whoo-wee.
That probably means it wasn't hot enough.
That's freaking tasty right there. I love the way this pipe hits. It's like a new age, old school looking pipe.
Right, that's exactly what I say. It has the design of what looks like to be a 1,000-year-old.
It makes me feel like an Asian was, created this back in the day. Some kind of Asian guy created this fucking thing that was smoking some hash in the fucking mountains somewhere. Well, yeah.
There you go. I just didn't heat it up enough. Yeah, for real.
Ooh, that's fucking fire.
Yeah,
you
man.
Gonna hit that?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Woo!
But yeah, I would say
that tastes amazing right there.
Everything we're talking about right now is one of my biggest focuses and one of my favorite things about what I've been able to do in the Inventing Room specifically is just be able to further connect myself with the community of hash and with the community of solventless, because it is a community, it's a family, and it's something that, I tell people all the time, everyone loves dabbing, fewer people love hash. And I have a true, like, I am in love with hash. It's a very it's a relationship rooted in spirituality for me. Even in my DNA, my dad used to hunt the blonde when he lived in Israel, so it's something that
it's in your blood.
It truly, I take very seriously. I have a very specific and conscious relationship with it. I love utilizing the old techniques, bringing them to new generations, just taking my part. Because like I said, there is so many people in these communities across the world doing the same thing. And I'm just proud to now be amongst that community, being able to get some recognition, and truly, most importantly, call all these people friends now.
Oh, yeah. I think that's awesome, man. I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you. You know what I'm saying? What you're doing here is where this industry needs to be at, like in certain areas we're lacking. You know what I mean? We need that transparency, and we need the knowledge and the old school, feel back into it, where it's not just, this corporate thing. You know what I mean? It's lost that feel, and that's what I didn't like about going in the industry, to be honest with you. Like, I always had a connection with my plants. And then you go in, and then they make you wear these gloves and this and that, and then you're losing that energy and that connection. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? I hated that, but I see the importance of that. But I just, there's some dirty ass motherfuckers out there that are going to be spreading some shit. But you know what I mean? Like, I get that, but still, I didn't like that. You know what I mean? I love being able to that. It's rec now, and people can grow their own and really experience the growing of the plant. And I think cannabis is, that's my love of my life. It's, my longest running relationship I think I've ever had.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, with the plant is like, she's my, my main thing, like they say, Mary Jane, so I love to be able to spread that knowledge here at Little Shop of Hydros and really, teach the community on how to grow your own. I think it's important to really get that connection of, smoking. If you've always smoked cannabis but you never grown it, like, I think that connection is very important to know, where it comes, how it gets there.
100%.
Right, and how these products get there. This hash hole, I really appreciate you bringing these. I look forward to, right when we're done with the show, we're going to blaze one of these, and I'm going to get high as fuck, I'm sure.
Hell yeah, for
and
sure.
We all are. And I think that's going to be pretty cool to, try one of your new products. You said these are already on the market, or they're coming?
No, they're on the market, absolutely here.
Tell us where they can get them. Like, I heard you're into Sticky Swirl now. Obviously, that's on the east side, Chandler and McQueen and Riggs.
Yep.
So where else?
So another place on the east side is Kind Meds.
Okay.
They definitely kill it for us and have.
I heard you say something about the Mint was coming.
The Mint is coming, absolutely.
All 100%. Mint locations?
I would assume so.
All right. Well, hey, that's a big deal.
But yeah.
How many locations is that? 4 more?
I believe 4.
Ooh, all right, cool.
We have quite a few locations in queue, so we're going to get these hash rolls specifically are to get out to the masses. This is not a novelty thing. This is not a small batch thing we're doing. We are putting a driving force in it. I got a local hitter named Tanner Yonkers. That guy is a rolling machine. I can't tell you how much I've been told by people when we started this venture, like, man, props for having that guy, props for picking him, and that really starts one of the initial goals I had with the invention. That took me a while to get to for obvious reasons, but I want to build a dream team. I want to keep building people together to where Tanner's the best joint roller I know. Now he rolls our joints.
Hey, man, that's cool.
So that's what we.
That's somebody you can depend on to be able to train other people and to correctly do it. Make it always consistent, because I like the feel of that. Like, it was nice and packed.
It's perfect.
It's not gap. It's not. I can tell it's not going to run like most pre-rolls do.
No. It'll smoke longer too, because it's so
it's
packed.
More like a little cigar, right?
It's funny you say that, because our other roller, Dre, he commonly refers to this experience as a cigar-like experience. It's a slow roast, it's a slow smoke, and you should take it as such. Of course, you can make any joint run if you want to hit it and puff it. And I'm
hit it so hard. Yeah.
Well, I'm privy myself to not only taking big deep hits, but consistent hits. And I've always been kind of just not very conscious or caring about really this. Now I just kind of hit the joint constantly. Whereas this, it's okay to kind of sit there, take rips every now and then, really kind of, attributing to that cigar experience. Enjoy it. Take it in. Make it last longer. It will last longer already. And all these things just curate a really fun experience that is about as far as the current pre-roll experience provides.
That's cool, man.
And the cool thing is they don't need to be this huge, long thing either. They're also very compact to the point to where if you need to put it out, put it out. Put it out just like a cigarette. I
like what you're saying, man. Then just light it back up when you need to.
Yeah, exactly. Light it up later.
And then, I just want to highlight one more thing too. I mean, we got another, you have a business partner that's a local as well. He has a big name here, with his high maintenance smoke shops.
Yeah.
He's a big player in your business. High in Arizona podcast and everything Jason like that. So I mean, Jason Horn, he's been a a big player in the cannabis scene for a long time, you know, with different projects that he's doing. That's cool that he's part of your, you know, what you're doing here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure you've been to his lounge, all those kind of things. What do you think of that?
I mean, everything he's doing is incredible. He's definitely a community staple. I've been a huge fan of his for a very long time. Always seen him from afar killing it. It was a pleasure to be able to link up with him and work with him in any capacity. And, you know, it's a pleasure and a real grace to have him still, you know, rocking with us and on the team.
That's cool, man. Well, that's important, like you said, to build the right team, you know, and I think what he's doing is good for the cannabis community. Obviously, it's given a safe space for people to go and enjoy
and they just,
cannabis, right? And different, I think so, right?
Yeah, it
goes by quick.
He's done incredible things with the lounge.
I mean, that's, you know, he's in the forefront of things, you know, really making shit happen. And
trailblazing,
people,
for sure.
I haven't been there myself, you know, because I'm waiting for an invite. Jason, you know, if you hear this. But, you know, I'll go check it out eventually. And, you know, I know it's going to be a good spot for people to just really enjoy. You know, I think that's what it needs to be, is cannabis needs to be enjoyed in different ways and make it fun, right?
Absolutely.
So, you know, you're making it fun. I think, you know, with your products, they're going to really make a difference to people. I think that's what, you know, you said you're patient-oriented as well, to where that's what matters right here. We're trying to help people with this medicine, rosin, you know, the really good stuff that's really going to help and be full spectrum, you know, like you said,
medicine. That's
all the terpenes and things that matter that really do make the difference, right?
Right. That's it. I mean, just a full spectrum, fully ranged product that delivers as much as as close to as much as the plant does. You know, the plant has so many cannabinoids that don't make it in concentrates. You know, it's like we were talking about earlier. The dabbing experience is a lot different than the traditional smoking experience. So for us, we aren't here to change that experience by any means, but we appreciate having a full spectrum product. Like those hash hits are more reminiscent of me, at least the high of flower.
Dude, I feel great right now. Like that was a great freaking hit of hash. I can't wait to hit it another time after the show and do some more dabs of all the different products you have here, because you know I'm excited. I didn't want to do too much before the show and be too high.
Heck yeah.
Not be able to really get this story out. And I think we've done a great job explaining about the inventing room, you know, why people should choose your products, you know, and why they should support what you're doing here. Family owned, family operated, and somebody that's super passionate about cannabis and hash and, you know, what they're doing for the community, right?
Yeah, the passion is everything. I organically try to have it be as contagious as possible, just because it really.
Well, you can tell, man. It really shows through. And, I want to commend you again. Good job on what you're doing here. And I can't wait to see where you go. Keep us posted. Come back on. Keep us coming, with whatever's coming out, next. I just want to, be able to be supportive and be able to highlight to the community what you're doing out here, man. So thank you for being a hard-working sloper over here and representing Slope well, man.
Of course, man. That's it. Everywhere I go, especially, I go to these different events like Legends, and I'll be at Ego this year, if I get the invite again. So that's where I'm always repping AZ, cool, Slope specifically. But that's good, man.
We got to represent this small little community that we all grew up in. And, we're doing big things, you know what I mean? So you got to highlight that. There's cool things that, even like Chad Muska came from Sunny Slope.
Right,
that's a big fucking deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a big world-renowned name in the skating world, and I think those are cool things, man. So I wish you the best of luck with the Invention Room and all your new products coming out, and to get where you want to be at, man.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming through.
Killing it here, so I appreciate you having me.
Well, hey, we're trying, man. We're doing our thing, and we're trying to just teach the community. And I think that's what, why we want to let people know who we are. We're for the community. I grew up right here. This is where I live. We want to really give back and show people how to grow good food and good cannabis and, whatever they want to grow. And I think, community is everything. So we're trying to build that as well. So give a shout out to my store, Little Shop of Hydros, and Dynapier CBD. We're the Stoned Age Podcast. Check us out. Peace.